Muskegon Channel. It's Andy O'Reilly, and today I am down at Mark Eisenbarth's office in the county administration. This is Mark Eisenbarth. He is our county administrator?
County administrator.
Big title, good-looking tie, very important. Beth Dick is the finance manager for the county as well as the assistant county administrator.
Yeah.
Beth and Mark are here today, and as you remember, a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks now, we talked a little bit more about the need for some honest talk from county government and city government and all of our government entities, to be honest with you, because it's a gaping hole in Muskegon as to what the government does, why it does what it does, and I just don't think that we get the coverage anywhere else. And unfortunately, for a community our size, I think it's essential, because we're as big of a community as we are, we're still a small enough community that people wonder what goes on and why it goes on in our local governments, our counties, our cities, and even up to the state level. It's all a question mark. And unfortunately, when people don't take the time to sit down and just talk about what the government does and why it does what it does, it leaves a lot of question marks hanging out there. And in our days today of social media and everything, everybody's an armchair quarterback. Everybody knows how it works. And the rumors start to swirl, and next thing you know, everybody's in a huff, and all the government people are somehow shady, and it's just not the case. I don't believe that at all. And Mark sent me a list of things that we can start to talk about, and the first thing is first, the budget. It just seems to be what everybody wants to talk about, and how all the hijinks are going on, and I for one don't think it's true. We're going to start talking about the county government budget and a rating that you guys recently got from S&P Global. First off, tell me what S&P Global is and what they do.
S&P Global is a rating for the counties and cities as well, and they rate each county on their financial stability. Just like we would for a house. When you get rated, you want to get your own ratings, 700s credit rating.
Okay.
750, 800, that's what people like to see your rating at. Well, this is very similar to that, but it's for municipalities. And S&P is a global rating company that does that for us. And they spent many hours with our finance manager and our finance team to come up with those rating numbers. And last week, they went through that process 2 weeks ago already. This is 2 weeks old now. And they gave us a very good rating, AA rating for the county. We maintain our AA rating, even though with all the financial concerns that are out there. They like what Ms. Dick has put together here for a financial team in financial outcomes. And working with the staff and the directors on this, it's very positive going forward.
Talk about the process for you. As these guys come in and they want to comb through the books, and it can't be, oh yeah, it looks good. It's got to be a pretty inclusive process.
Yes, I mean they definitely look at what's happened up to this point and what we're projecting to happen going forward. The measures that we're taking to improve the county's financial outlook. The purpose of this particular rating, was we were in the process of wanting to restructure the bonds that were issued to finance the jail and the juvenile transition center back in 2013.
And that is one of the big question marks that hangs over everybody, is this jail. All right, we'll get to the jail in a minute, but explain AA. Where does that put us? If I think of me as a credit rating of 700, which, not even close, AA, where would that be in a credit rating that people would understand?
Well, it's considered to be an investment grade, a good standing rating. And we did look at other counties within the state of Michigan, and a lot of counties are at the AA rating.
Okay.
There are very few at what the next level up, AAA. There are just a handful of counties that and municipalities within the state of Michigan at a AAA rating.
So we're good.
Yes.
Very good.
We're comfortable.
Very comfortable.
We don't have anything to panic about. We don't have anything to worry about. And when you talk about projection, how far down the road is that AA rating saying that we're okay?
Well, each time you go out for another bond issue, they would want to do a rating update. But typically when you go out for a bond rating, they like to look 5 years out.
Okay.
And so they ask you, are you maintaining, or are you looking 5 years out from now
Yeah.
and ask for that information.
And for a county like ours, who has seen, quite honestly, better days when it comes to, population and money coming in, and I mean, jobs and everything else. I mean, we're getting better. We're coming along really, really really well, I think. But if you go back to the early '80s and even in the late '80s and '90s, when we were kind of humming along pretty good.
We were, right.
For us to be there now, that's a pretty good thing.
Well, we're trying to get there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of charts and graphs that we can talk about that talk about property tax revenue coming in and historical analysis of state revenue sharing, which you're going to get, hopefully someday get involved with,
Yeah,
the state
right.
revenue sharing. But that'll be a main topic for us to discuss. But there's many different layers of government in taxes, and in the jail, like you said, we can talk about the jail, but all that comes into play in this S&P ratings, and the forecast, the 5-year forecast comes in ratings. So all very complex, but it really takes shape in what the county has to do or should do for the local residents of the county.
Right. This complexity, is that where everybody that doesn't get to hear really what's going on? And you can make the argument that people should come to the county commission meetings. There's just time. The people don't have time to get down there and be a part of this thing. And in all honesty, it has gotten to the point where it's so complex. Does the average guy on the street really understand how all this stuff works?
No, I think what's really complex, at least when I talk about this, is how much dollars actually comes into the county. I mean, we're looking at a $245 million budget for the county. There's only 45 roughly is actually general fund dollars, local tax dollars.
Right.
The rest of that is federal or state dollars coming in, or wastewater or water, outside enterprise departments.
Yeah.
So the big picture, you look at the general fund only, it's a small portion
Sure.
of the entire county budget.
It's just overwhelming to the average guy, though, to try and piece it all together and figure it all out, where the question marks start to come, especially when it comes to bonds and all this other kind of stuff. Talk a little bit about what we saw last year, because there was a lot of confusion around this jail bond, or the youth, family, and community millage, and then the word started getting out that this was some secret shell game to pay for the jail and all that, and I don't think that was ever the case. Everything that I was ever at, it had nothing to do with that.
Right.
Well,
let's talk about the jail first.
Okay.
The jail finished up a couple years ago. It was started in 2013, I believe, to start planning for this jail, and then the construction began. I started in 2014, Beth started in early 15, and we started getting into these finances and with the jail. And the jail itself is set up on its own bond payment. That's been set up, and payments have been starting made. So that's separate. No matter what the county does from year to year, we're required to make these bond payments.
Right.
Just like you make your house payments.
Sure.
I mean, when you're going through your list of bills, house bill, you want to make sure you pay it.
make sure you pay that one, yeah.
So that's kind of like the jail, as I explained. The jail has its own mortgage, and we always pay that bill. So then there's a general fund, we'll just call that a bucket of money here, with some of that's going there for the jail. It has to be there, so that's one of the first things you take out. The next thing is when you start bringing in this millage that we went out for,
The youth millage.
youth family millage, we really wanted to focus on kids and what we do for the kids in the community. Well, the circuit court does a lot of that. We're talking about juvenile justice also. And that funding there is 4.8 roughly, for a little under $5 million.
Okay.
So if we can bring that money, the millage in, to help support that. Because when you start looking at cutting, if I get too broad here, let me know. If you start looking at cutting each department's budget by a certain amount to stay within that $45 million that we talk about, we need to evaluate each department independently and where that general fund dollars goes. So then things that you want to secure is definitely we want to secure a place for kids to be helped in the community.
Absolutely.
We felt like that was really our top priority. Of all the departments, the one that we want to cut the least is the one that affects the kids in the community, and really turn those kids around, who help them finish high school, help them find jobs locally. it just goes on, a trickle effect there. So I thought the kids would be the most secure thing to secure in the future. So that's why we went with that. Could we have, to help the general fund, could you look at possibly a sheriff millage or a road patrol millage? Could you look at general fund, just a general fund millage that takes money in for everything? I wanted to be more specific on identifying that so it cannot be cut in the future.
Right.
And whether I'm here or not, whether Beth's here or not, there's always a millage that comes in that supports that kid youth program, and that's really what I was shooting for.
I was behind it, and we're not really here to do a campaign piece or anything like that. But even the campaign, people are like, "Well, you were behind this," and I just think taking the money that we spend now to send kids out of state to fix a problem, and then have them come back right to the same chaos that they left. Even just the money we spend on the kids, if we just spent that here, it would be money well spent to me.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's our family piece of that.
Yeah.
If we can not just help the kid, the juvenile person stay here, but also work with their family and bring their family in on a
Holistic
weekly
healing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea of the word family came behind that.
But so many people got the information, and the information got out that it was somehow this bait and switch, but that's not how it operates.
No, I mean, I truly believe the dollars would have stayed there for that. Those dollars coming in. The dollars that we spend for that could have went other general fund department dollars that like support the prosecutor's office or support the health department or support the public defender's office. I mean, that opens up. But the first thing that comes out of that bucket of money is to pay for that jail. It's not like we have a choice to pay for that or not.
Right.
It was well on its way. It was needed. It was built, and we need to move on in from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Over the next, you guys have some insight as to development and things in the pipeline and things like that. Are we, and I've said, I think we're in for a bit of a boom in Muskegon over the next 10 years. Is that the feeling here?
Go ahead and run it.
Yes, we've seen, obviously there's a lot of activity going on with all the new construction, a lot of housing that will help improve our property tax revenues. One of the graphs that Mark has here shows that our property tax revenues, we're not even at the level that we were back in 2008.
Really?
We're starting to move in that positive direction now, but with all the activity that we're seeing, the $1 billion of investment and development going on is definitely going to improve our overall revenues and county operations, but it's going to improve the county as a whole.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see that positive movement.
It's a good thing, and it feels good to see things starting to turn. And
It is,
because it took a while for us to kind of it took a while. What we had was great, and growing up in Sparta, I'd come here for everything when I was a kid because Grand Rapids was an empty shell. It was a bunch of empty buildings, and we didn't even have an arena there back then. So we came here for everything, and to know that it kind of went like this, and it's starting to make that uphill turn again, it's a great thing. And I know that on the street level, people look at it like Muskegon is starting to rebuild a little bit, but you guys look at it from a dollars and cents point,
Right.
and that's that's essential too. But that feeling of well-being is starting to come along, and I think they're both equally important.
I like that too, because the business partners is truly a partnership with the county and with the cities or the townships that they represent. So whatever we can do through our economic development to help those businesses expand. The largest problem we see right now is finding enough employees.
Right.
And so if we can help bring in more families to that, families that they want to move to West Michigan, we'll try everything we can, because that obviously benefits everybody.
Growth. Yeah. So it's been an all hands on deck effort. From people working to change the way that we see ourselves, from people working to change the way Muskegon is seen outwardly, in things like that. It's been great to be a part of it for me. If for nothing else, just to be the cheerleader. Because a little presence on social media to kind of do that thing, but to take a little bit bigger role in it with Roosevelt Park or whatever I've been up to, that kind of thing. It's important, and I think we all got it pulling on the same rope.
I think so too.
You know, I think that's a big deal.
And this S&P rating, the Standards & Poor's global rating that we received, it's going to help us do that too.
Yeah.
Help us spend our money more wisely, get better interest rates on bonds that we do in the future, and which saves dollars. So it's one. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to see that we had that opportunity to start explaining what's going on, and I'd like to obviously do this more in the future with you as well.
Sure. Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, and I gave you my word, you know, and I put the video out a little bit. And we talked about the fact that you know, the county does spend a little bit of money with us, and I just don't think that I don't think that what we do. I think it's our public service. You know, we got to keep helping get the word out about what goes on and give people the real story. You know, so we appreciate what you guys do, and having us down here to talk about this kind of stuff's important. So, any final thoughts about the budget? And are people welcome to call and learn more
Absolutely.
if they've got questions?
Absolutely.
I mean, if that cloud is going around out there and everybody's going, well, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, and I read on Facebook this, can they just get a hold of you, email, call?
Absolutely. My information's on our county website.
We'll link it up. Yeah.
And definitely, I mean, our budget is on the county website. Happy to explain that to anybody that would want to give me a call or come
Even
in.
a knucklehead like me, right? Well, Andy's coming in. It's going to take a few minutes, so let's get out pictures and explain it all to him with that. I love it, though. It's
Yeah,
good.
but it's a good point too. I mean, if there's organizations out there that like for us to come and do a presentation on explain it, I want to get out there and visit with them. And,
Yeah, there's nothing to hide.
No.
There's no smoke and mirrors.
there's a lot of good things going on in the county. And
Great things.
they need to know.
Yeah, I'm proud to be a part of it. Thanks for having me down today. We'll put the links up. Is this all online too, the S&P Global Rating and all that?
It will be. It's
Yeah,
really
we can
fresh.
put it
I mean,
up. Yeah.
Well,
We'll
give me
get
the
it out
links as
there.
soon as you can, and we'll
Yeah.
get it up on the story and all that other kind of stuff. The budget, it's on everybody's mind in Muskegon County, and you know, hopefully any final thoughts from you, Mark?
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. It's
What-
complicated. complicated.
It
We
is.
could do an hour on this sitting
yeah,
here.
in
you
each
know.
section. We can,
Each section, absolutely.
and we'll continue going through that. When you might hear in the paper that we're doing something on bonds, restructuring something or another, or we want to go out for bonds, or we want to do something with the health department, Health West. I mean, anything. I'd like to sit down with you and go through that stuff.
If you can explain it
Yeah.
in common language that people will understand, I'll be there with that camera, and we'll set the record straight.
Well, thank you very
That's how it
much.
works. Details are right here on the Muskegon channel. I promise you folks, there's no smoke and mirrors going on. Mark Eisenbarth, Miss Dick, right over there. Thank you very much, guys. It's Mary?
Beth.
Beth, I knew I was going to get that wrong. Long weekend, too much walking, you know. All the details are right here on the Muskegon channel. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you
you.
too.